The royal summons arrives at dawn, sealed with blood wax and bearing the crest of pack sovereignty. 3 wolves circling a crescent moon. Rhiannon stands in the doorway of her exile cottage, fingers trembling as she breaks the seal, knowing with absolute certainty that this letter will destroy whatever fragile peace she's managed to build in the 3 years since Alpha Khadak threw her from the pack lands. The parchment unfurls, and the words slice through her like silver. By ancestral right and council oath, you are commanded to appear before the lunar court. The heir of the realm demands your presence. Refusal means death. Her breath catches. The heir of the realm. Little Owain. Her son, though no one in the kingdom knows it. No one except Khadak, who looked into her eyes the night she gave birth and told her she would never touch the child again. That her Omega blood, her forbidden lineage, made her unworthy to raise a future Alpha. He'd taken the screaming newborn from her arms while she was still bleeding, still crying, still begging. And then he'd banished her beyond the sacred boundaries where the pack magic couldn't reach her, where she'd feel the severing like a wound that never heals. 3 years of that wound. 3 years of waking up with her arms empty and her wolf howling in the hollow space where her pup should be. Now they summon her back. Rhiannon's hands shake so violently that she nearly drops the parchment. Why? What could they possibly want from her now? Unless, her heart stutters, unless something's happened to Owain. Unless her baby is hurt, sick, dying, and even Khadak's pride can't save him. The thought propels her into motion. She grabs her traveling cloak, the worn leather satchel that holds everything she owns, and she runs. Runs toward the pack lands she swore she'd never see again. Runs toward the Alpha who destroyed her. Runs toward a son who doesn't know her face. The forest closes around her like a fist. Tell me the city you're watching from so I can send you a warm hug, because you're going to need it for what comes next. The pack lands appear through the morning mist like something from a half-remembered dream. The towering pines, the stone markers etched with ancient runes, the scent of pine and wild magic so thick it makes her wolf rise up beneath her skin, desperate and yearning. Rhiannon forces herself to keep walking even as every instinct screams at her to run. Toward it, away from it, she can't tell anymore. The boundary wards recognize her blood even after 3 years of exile. They part for her like a curtain, letting her through, and the sensation of pack magic rushing back into her body nearly brings her to her knees. It's agony. It's ecstasy. It's coming home to a place that hates her. The path leads to the Great Hall, that massive structure of dark wood and stone where the pack has gathered for centuries to witness trials, celebrations and executions. Rhiannon's stomach twists. The doors stand open and she can hear voices inside. The low rumble of the council elders, the sharp tone of Khadak's second in command, and beneath it all, a sound that stops her heart completely. Child crying. Not just any child. Her child. She knows it the way she knows her own heartbeat, the way she'd know it in a crowd of 1,000 crying children. Her baby is crying and every fiber of her being demands she go to him, comfort him, protect him. But her feet have frozen to the ground. Because she also hears Khadak's voice, cold and commanding, saying, "The boy needs discipline, not coddling. He will learn to control himself, or he will never be fit to lead." He's 3 years old, someone protests. Rhiannon thinks it might be Ellery, one of the few pack members who'd shown her kindness before the banishment. He's barely more than a pup. He's asking for his mother. He has no mother. Khadak's words fall like stones. The Omega who birthed him was unworthy. He will learn this truth. The Omega who birthed him. Not even her name. Rhiannon's hands curl into fists, nails biting into her palms hard enough to draw blood. She wants to storm in there, wants to shift and tear Khadak's throat out for speaking of her that way, for teaching her son that she's nothing, no one, unworthy of even a name. But she can't. Because she's here under royal summons, which means she's here under sufferance, and one wrong move will get her killed. Or worse, will get her thrown out again before she ever gets to see Owain's face. So she straightens her spine, lifts her chin, and walks through those doors like she has every right to be there. The great hall falls silent. Every eye turns to her. The council elders seated in their high-backed chairs, their faces carved from disapproval and ancient prejudice. The pack warriors lining the walls, hands moving instinctively to weapons. The servants and lower-ranking wolves who scatter to the edges of the room like she's brought a plague with her. And there, on the raised platform at the far end of the hall, sitting in the alpha's chair carved from a single massive oak, is Gothic. He hasn't changed. Still devastatingly handsome in that brutal way of alphas, all sharp edges and coiled strength, dark hair pulled back from a face that could have been sculpted by an angry god. His eyes, amber and cold, lock onto hers. She sees the flash of something in them, surprise, maybe, or anger, or something more complicated that she doesn't have time to decipher, before his expression hardens into pure disdain. "The Omega arrives," he says, and his voice carries through the hall like a whip crack. 3 hours late to a royal summons. Shall we add disrespect to your list of failures? Rhiannon's wolf snarls beneath her skin, but she keeps her voice level. I came as quickly as I could. Your summons reached me at dawn, and I live beyond the northern boundary. I've been running since the moment I read it. Running. Gothic rises from his chair, and the movement is liquid, predatory. He descends the platform steps with the casual grace of someone who's never doubted his right to rule. How fitting. It's what you've always been best at, isn't it? Running away when things become difficult. The injustice of it burns through her veins like poison. She wants to scream at him that he threw her out, that she begged to stay, that she fought until she had no strength left, and he still cast her into exile. But she can't say any of that. Not here. Not in front of the council, which watched it happen and did nothing. So she swallows the words like ground glass and says, "I'm here now. You summon me. What do you want?" For a moment, something flickers across Gothic's face, something that looks almost like pain. But it's gone so quickly, she must have imagined it. He stops 3 feet away from her, close enough that she can smell him, that intoxicating scent of pine and smoke and alpha that used to make her feel safe. Now it just makes her want to weep. "The boy is ill," he says flatly. "The healers say it's a soul sickness. That he's rejecting the pack bond because something in him is incomplete. They say." His jaw clenches. "They say he needs his mother." The world tilts. Rhiannon's knees actually buckle, and she has to lock them to stay standing. Wayne is sick. Her baby is sick because he needs her, because some part of him knows she exists and is calling for her, and this bastard alpha kept her away for 3 years while her child suffered. Rage and relief and desperate love crash through her in waves. She wants to demand why he didn't tell her sooner, why he let Wayne get to this point, but the only word that makes it out of her mouth is, "Where?" Gothic's expression doesn't change. "The healer's wing. But before you see him you need to understand the terms. You will bond with the child. You will stabilize him. And then you will leave. The council has agreed to grant you 3 days, long enough for the pup to recognize you and for the bond to settle. After that you return to exile, this time permanently. You will sign a blood oath renouncing all claim to the boy, all rights of motherhood. He will grow up knowing you came and left, that you chose your freedom over him. And you will never return, even if he calls for you again." The cruelty of it steals her breath. They're going to let her bond with her son just enough to save his life, and then they're going to rip them apart again, this time making sure Wayne believes she abandoned him, making sure her own child grows up hating her. "No." The word comes out broken, barely a whisper. "No, you can't." "I can." Gothic leans in, and his voice drops to something only she can hear. "And I will. You made your choice 3 years ago when you refused to accept your place. When you defied pack law by conceiving a child with alpha blood while carrying the taint of forbidden lineage. This is mercy, Rhiannon. More than you deserve. Take it, or watch your son die from across the boundary line. Forbidden lineage." The words hang between them like an accusation. He means her grandmother, a witch from the old bloodlines, the ones who practiced magic that predates the pack bonds, magic that the council declared heresy 2 generations ago. Rhiannon's never been able to do more than light a candle with her mind, but it was enough. Enough to make her Omega status even more shameful. Enough to make their mating scandalous. Enough to make Gothic choose his throne over her when the council demanded he cast her out or lose his right to lead. She'd thought once that he might choose her. She'd been so catastrophically wrong. "Let me see him," she whispers. "Please. Let me see my son." For the first time, something in Gothic's expression cracks. He looks away, jaw tight, and jerks his head toward one of the doors at the side of the hall. "Ellery will take you. You have until sunset to make your decision. Bond with him and sign the oath, or leave now and never come back. Those are your only options." He turns and walks away before she can respond. Before she can tell him that there was never really a choice at all. The healer's wing smells of sage and silver and sickness. Ellery walks beside Rhiannon in silence, her face drawn with worry. She's a beta wolf, strong and steady, one of the few who'd dared to slip Rhiannon food and news during those final terrible weeks before the banishment. Now she looks like she's aged a decade in 3 years. "It's bad," Ellery says quietly as they climb the stairs. "He won't eat, won't sleep. He keeps crying for someone he can't name. The healers tried everything. Herbs, magic, even bringing in a surrogate mother. Nothing worked. 2 weeks ago he started fading. Just fading. Like he'd decided to follow wherever his soul was calling him." Rhiannon's hands shake. "Why didn't anyone tell me sooner? Gothic forbade it." Ellery's voice is bitter. "He said it was pack business, that you'd given up your right to know. But then the head healer told the council that if they didn't bring you back, they'd be watching the heir die. And even Gothic couldn't argue with that. The ancestral laws are clear. A pup has the right to his mother's bond until he's weaned. Owain was taken too early. The bond never settled properly. Now it's killing him." They reach a door at the end of the hallway. Ellery stops, her hand on the latch, and looks at Rhiannon with something like pity. "I'm sorry. For what they did to you. For what they're going to do now. If there was any way to fight it." "I know." Rhiannon's voice is surprisingly steady. "Open the door." Ellery does. The room beyond is small and warm, lit by candles and a fire in the hearth. There's a bed against one wall, piled with furs and blankets. And in that bed, so small he's almost lost among the covers, is a little boy with dark curls and golden eyes and Gothic's stubborn chin. He's asleep, but it's not a peaceful sleep. His face is pinched, his breathing shallow, and even from the doorway Rhiannon can see how thin he is, how fragile. Her baby. Owain. She's across the room before she realizes she's moved, sinking to her knees beside the bed, reaching out with trembling hands to touch his face. He's so warm. His skin is fever-hot beneath her palm, and the moment she makes contact, something inside her chest explodes. The mother bond, dormant and aching for 3 years, roars to life. She can feel him now, feel his confusion, his pain, his desperate loneliness. He's been calling for her. Not consciously, but soul deep, the way a pup calls for its mother when it's lost in the dark. "Oh, sweetheart," she breathes. "I'm here. Mama's here." Owain's eyes flutter open. For a moment, he just stares at her, those golden eyes so much like his father's, hazy with fever and sleep. Then his face crumples. "Mama." It's barely a whisper. "Mama." "Yes, baby. Yes, it's me." And then he's reaching for her, little arms stretching out, and she's pulling him into her lap, holding him against her chest, and he's crying, great gasping sobs that shake his whole body. But beneath the crying, she can feel it, the bond settling into place, clicking together like pieces of a puzzle that should never have been separated. Her wolf rises up and wraps around him, protective and fierce, and his tiny wolf cub responds, weak but yearning, reaching back. "Don't leave," Owain gasps against her shoulder. "Please don't leave, Mama. I looked everywhere. Called and called. Don't go away again." Rhiannon's heart shatters. "I'm not going anywhere," she lies, because what else can she say? "I'm right here, baby. I've got you." She holds him while he cries himself out, while his breathing steadies and his fever starts to break, while the terrible tension in his small body finally eases. She rocks him and hums an old lullaby her grandmother taught her, one that predates the packs, one that carries magic in its melody. And slowly, finally, Owain falls asleep in her arms, really asleep this time, deeply and peacefully, the way a child should sleep. Ellery watches from the doorway, tears streaming down her face. "He's already better," she whispers. "Look at him. The color's coming back to his cheeks." Rhiannon looks down at her son and feels something inside her harden into resolve. They think they can take him from her again. They think she'll sign some blood oath and walk away while her baby cries for her. They don't know what she's capable of. They've never known. They dismissed her as a weak Omega, as a witch's granddaughter with barely a spark of power. But they're wrong. The forbidden lineage doesn't make her weak. Makes her dangerous. And she's about to show them exactly how dangerous a mother can be when someone threatens her child. Caddoc finds her 3 hours later, still holding Owain, still sitting beside his bed. The boy is awake now, eating soup and chattering in that boundless way of 3-year-olds, telling her about his favorite toys and the horses in the stable and how he's going to be a big, strong alpha someday just like Papa. Every word is a knife in her chest. Papa. Her son calls Caddoc Papa, looks up to him and loves him. The man who stole him away. She looks up when Caddoc enters, and for a moment, their eyes meet across the room. She sees him take in the scene. Owain cuddled against her, pink-cheeked and laughing, looking healthier than he has in weeks. She sees something complicated cross Caddoc's face. Pride, maybe, that his son is recovering. Regret, possibly, though she might be imagining that. And beneath it all, a flash of something that looks like longing. "Papa!" Owain scrambles out of Rhiannon's lap and runs across the room, arms outstretched. Caddoc catches him, lifts him up, and the love on his face is undeniable. Whatever else he is, cruel, proud, unforgiving, he loves their son. She can see it in every line of his body. Hear it in the way his voice softens when he asks Owain how he's feeling. "So much better," Owain announces. "Mama came. She sang to me and the hurting stopped, and now I'm hungry all the time. Can we have honey cakes?" "Maybe later," Caddoc says. His eyes find Rhiannon again, and his expression shudders. "I need to speak with your mama for a moment. Why don't you go with Ellery? She'll take you to the kitchens." Owain pouts but allows himself to be led away, chattering at Ellery about honey cakes and whether they might have strawberries too. The moment the door closes behind them, the temperature in the room drops 10 degrees. "He's better," Caddoc says. "It's not a question." "Yes. The bond has settled." "Yes. Good." He moves to the window, looking out over the pack lands with his hands clasped behind his back. The afternoon light turns his hair to bronze, highlights the tension in his shoulders. "Then you can sign the oath tomorrow and be gone by sunset." The healers say 3 days, but clearly that won't be necessary. Rhiannon stands slowly, carefully, like she's approaching a dangerous animal. "I'm not signing the oath." Caddoc goes very still. "Excuse me. I said I'm not signing the oath. I'm not leaving my son. Not now, not ever. You can exile me, threaten me, try to break me, but I will not abandon him again. So you're going to have to kill me, Caddoc. Because that's the only way I'm leaving this pack without Owain." He turns, and the rage on his face is almost beautiful in its intensity. "You think you have a choice in this? You think you can just refuse the council's terms? I think the council needs the heir to survive more than they need to punish me. And the heir needs his mother. You've seen it yourself. He was dying without me. How long do you think he'll last after you rip us apart again? A week? A month? And when he starts fading again, what will you do? Summon me back? How many times will we play this game before you accept the truth?" "The truth." Caddoc crosses the room in 3 strides, gets right in her face, voice low and dangerous. "The truth is that you carry forbidden blood. The truth is that the council will never accept you as the mother of the heir. The truth is that your presence here threatens everything I've built, every alliance I've forged to keep this pack safe. Do you think I wanted to cast you out? Do you think it was easy? Yes, she says simply. I think it was easier than choosing me. He flinches like she's struck him. For a moment, neither of them moves. The air between them is thick with 3 years of hurt and anger and words they've never said. Then Caddock steps back, his face going cold again, shutting her out the way he's so good at. The oath stands. You'll sign it, or you'll be removed by force. Then remove me. But when our son dies because you cared more about politics than his life, you'll have to live with that. Not me. She turns and walks out before he can respond, before he can see the tears burning in her eyes, before she loses the fragile control she's been clinging to. She makes it to the hallway before her knees give out. She slides down the wall, presses her hands over her mouth to stifle the sobs, and lets herself break apart in the shadows where no one can see. She doesn't notice Ellery watching from the end of the corridor, Owain's small hand clutched in hers. Doesn't see the way the beta wolf's expression hardens with determination. Doesn't know that Ellery has just made a decision that will change everything. The council convenes at dusk in the Great Hall, and this time Rhiannon is not invited. She's confined to the healer's wing with Owain, who's fallen asleep against her shoulder, exhausted from his first full day of activity in weeks. She strokes his dark curls and tries not to think about what's happening in that hall, what verdict they're crafting, what new cruelty they're devising to separate her from her child. But sound carries in the old stone building, and she can hear raised voices, angry shouting. The council is arguing. About her, certainly. About what to do with the Omega who refuses to disappear quietly. Then the door slams open and Ellery rushes in, breathless and wild-eyed. You need to run, she pants. Now. The council, they voted to execute you at dawn. Caddock tried to stop them, but Elder Maddox convinced the others that you're a threat, that you'll use your witch blood to corrupt the air. They're coming to take you to the cells. Horror floods through Rhiannon. They're going to kill me. Unless you run. I've got horses ready at the eastern gate. Take Owain and go. Cross the border into the free territories. They can't follow you there. Rhiannon looks down at the sleeping child in her arms. If I take him, they'll hunt us forever. Caddock will never stop. If you don't take him, you die and he fades. At least this way you both have a chance. Ellery grabs her arm, urgent. Please, Rhiannon. I can't watch them kill you. Not when I stood by and let them cast you out the first time. Let me help you now. It's madness. Kidnapping the heir, running from the Alpha, becoming a fugitive. But what's the alternative? Let them kill her and hope Caddock finds another solution before Owain dies. She's seen the way the council looks at her. They want her dead. They've always wanted her dead. And now they finally have an excuse. She's making the choice before she fully realizes it, wrapping Owain in his blanket, following Ellery through the dark corridors, moving as quickly and silently as they can. They take the servants' passages, the hidden ways that wind through the walls of the Great Hall. Rhiannon can hear the council still arguing, Caddock's voice raised above the others, saying something about ancestral law and rights of motherhood. He's still fighting for her. Even now, some part of him is trying to save her. It almost makes her hesitate. Then she hears Elder Maddox's cold reply. The Omega has sealed her own fate. The law is clear. Defiance of the council is treason. Treason is death. Not even you can change that, Alpha. She keeps moving. They reach the eastern gate just as the moon rises. 2 horses wait, saddled and ready, packs already tied to their flanks. Ellery must have been planning this for hours, maybe days. Rhiannon turns to thank her, but the beta wolf is already pressing something into her hand. A small leather pouch. Gold, Ellery whispers. And a map to safe houses across the border. Friends of mine, wolves who owe me favors. They'll help you. But you have to go now. Once they realize you're gone. A howl splits the night. The alarm. They've discovered her empty cell. Go! Ellery shoves her toward the nearest horse. I'll buy you time. Rhiannon climbs into the saddle with Owain clutched against her chest. The boy is starting to wake, confused and frightened. "Mama, where are we going?" "On an adventure, baby," she tells him, trying to keep her voice steady. "Hold on tight." She kicks the horse into a gallop, and they plunge into the forest just as more howls rise behind them. The pack is mobilizing. They'll be tracking her scent in minutes. But she has a head start, and she has something they don't expect. Her grandmother's blood singing through her veins, waking up after 3 years of dormancy. She reaches for it now, that forbidden magic, and whispers a concealment spell her grandmother taught her when she was barely older than Owain. The magic wraps around them like mist, muffling their scent, making them harder to track. It won't be enough. Not long term. But it might give them the edge they need to reach the border. Behind her, she hears Cadoc's howl rising above all the others, a sound of such rage and anguish that it nearly stops her heart. He knows she's taken Owain. He's coming for them. And he won't stop until he gets his son back. Or until he kills her trying. They ride through the night, stopping only once to let the horse rest and to wrap Owain in warmer clothes. The boy is wide awake now, clinging to her with a kind of terrified excitement that only small children can manage. He doesn't fully understand what's happening, but he knows it's important, knows his mama is scared even though she's trying to hide it. "Are we running away from Papa?" he asks as she helps him drink water from her canteen. Rhiannon's throat tightens. "We're going somewhere safe, sweetheart. But Papa said you were going to leave. He said you didn't want to stay with us." Those golden eyes look up at her, so trusting, so confused. Was Papa lying? God, what has Cadoc been telling him? "Your Papa wasn't lying, baby. It's complicated. Grown-up things are complicated. I don't want you to leave," Owain says, and his little chin wobbles. "I looked for you for so long. I dreamed about you every night. You sang to me in my dreams. The lullaby." Tears burn in Rhiannon's eyes. Bond. Even separated, even with Cadoc trying to make him forget her, the bond had held. Her child had dreamed of her, had known her voice, had called for her across the distance. "I don't want to leave either," she whispers. "That's why we're doing this. So we can be together. Forever. Forever." She doesn't know if it's a lie. She doesn't know if they can actually escape, if there's anywhere in the world Cadoc won't find them. But she means it in this moment with every fiber of her being. She will keep her son. She will protect him, even if it costs her everything. They're back on the horse, pushing through the pre-dawn darkness when she feels it, the pack bond yanking at her chest like a chain. Cadoc is close. Too close. She can sense him through the old mate bond they'd shared, the one she thought had died when he cast her out. But it's still there, faint but undeniable, and it's pulling tighter with every mile he covers. He's tracking them not just with his wolf senses but with magic, with a connection that still ties them together whether they want it or not. She urges the horse faster, but she knows it's futile. He's going to catch them before they reach the border. It's only a question of when. The when comes an hour before dawn. They're crossing a shallow river when he steps out of the tree line ahead of them, flanked by a dozen of his best warriors. In the pale moonlight, Cadoc looks like something out of a nightmare, covered in dirt and sweat, eyes blazing gold, every line of his body radiating barely controlled violence. The horse rears, sensing the alpha's fury, and Rhiannon has to fight to keep control, to keep Owain from being thrown. "Stop!" Cadoc's voice is deadly quiet. "Get off the horse, Rhiannon. Give me my son." "He's my son too," she says, even though her voice is shaking. "You don't get to just take him from me and pretend I don't exist. You kidnapped the heir of the realm. You've committed treason against the pack. The penalty is death." He takes a step closer, and the warriors fan out behind him, cutting off any escape route. "But if you surrender now, if you give Owain to me peacefully, I'll convince the council to commute your sentence to permanent exile. You'll live. You just won't ever see him again." "No." She holds Owain tighter, and the boy whimpers against her shoulder, confused and scared. I won't give him up. You'll have to kill me. Don't. The word comes out strangled, and suddenly Kadak sounds less like an alpha and more like a man in pain. Don't make me do this, Rhiannon. Please, just give him to me. Let him go. He needs me. You saw what happened when you took him away. He was dying, Kadak. Our son was dying because you cared more about your throne than his life. Than our life. You chose power over love. And I'm not going to let you destroy him the way you destroyed us. I was protecting him. Kadak roars, and the sound echoes through the forest, sending birds scattering from the trees. The council wanted both of you dead. Do you understand that? When they found out about your bloodline, about your grandmother, they wanted to execute you and the child. They called him tainted, corrupted, unworthy of the alpha line. I spent weeks convincing them to let him live, and the only way I could do it was by casting you out. By making them believe you meant nothing to me. It was the only way to save you both. The world stops. Rhiannon stares at him, her mind trying to process what he's just said. He was protecting them. He'd cast her out to save her. To save Owain. You never said. What could I say? His voice cracks. I made a choice. Keep you and watch the council kill our son in front of us, or cast you out and pray you'd survive long enough for me to fix things. I chose his life over your heart. Mine. And every single day since has been a nightmare, wondering if I made the right choice, wondering if you hate me, if you're alive, if I'll ever see you again. Tears are streaming down Rhiannon's face now. 3 years. 3 years she's thought he betrayed her out of ambition, out of cruelty. 3 years she's carried that wound. And all along he was trying to save them. Why didn't you tell me? Because if you knew, you would have fought. You would have tried to come back and they would have killed you. I needed you to be angry at me. I needed you to hate me enough to stay away. He takes another step, and now she can see the tears on his face too, glinting in the moonlight. But then Owain started fading, and I realized I'd made a mistake. That separation was killing him anyway. And I thought if I could bring you back just long enough to stabilize the bond, I could find another way. Convince the council. Change their minds. Something. The execution order was Elder Maddox's doing. He's been trying to undermine me since before you left. He wants his grandson on the throne, and he sees Owain as an obstacle. You refusing to sign the oath gave him the excuse he needed to push for your death. I've been fighting him all night trying to stop it, but... He stops, swallows hard. But now you've kidnapped the heir. And I can't protect you from that. No alpha can overlook treason, no matter what his personal feelings are. So please, Rhiannon, give me Owain. Let me take him back. And run. Run as far as you can and don't ever come back. It's the only way. Rhiannon looks down at the child in her arms, then back at Kadak, and she sees the truth in his face. He's not lying. He's not manipulating her. He's a man caught between his duty to his pack and his love for his family, and it's tearing him apart. Just like it's tearing her apart. Just like it's destroying all of them. But before she can respond, before she can make a choice, Owain wriggles in her grip and twists around to look at his father. Papa! His voice is small and scared. Why are you making Mama cry? Kadak's face crumples. I'm sorry, Pup. I'm trying to keep you both safe. But Mama's scared. And you're scary when you're like this. Why can't we all just go home together? Out of the mouths of babes. Such simple logic. Such an impossible dream. Rhiannon's heart breaks all over again. For her son who doesn't understand why his parents can't just love each other. Why the world has to be so complicated and cruel. It's not that simple, sweetheart, she whispers. Why not? Owain looks between them. His little face scrunched up with determination. You're my mama, and you're my papa, and I love you both, and you should love each other. That's how families work. Elder Ellery told me. And suddenly Rhiannon understands. Ellery. Sweet, loyal Ellery who'd helped her escape. Who'd been feeding Owain stories about families and love. Who'd been preparing the boy for this moment. who'd been planning something far more complicated than a simple escape. Ellery's been talking to him, Rhiannon says slowly, realization dawning. She's been preparing him. Why? Before Caddoc can answer, one of the warriors behind him, a young beta named Geraint, steps forward. Because there are more of us than you think, Alpha. Wolves who believe the Omega was wronged. Who thinks the Council has gone too far. Caddoc whirls on him. Stand down, Geraint. That's an order. With respect, Alpha, no. Geraint looks terrified but determined. Elder Maddox has been poisoning the Council for years. He doesn't just want Owain off the throne. He wants you off it too. And he's been using your mate as the wedge to divide the pack. Some of us are tired of watching him manipulate us. Tired of watching good wolves suffer because of politics. Another warrior steps forward. Then another. Half of Caddoc's tracking party breaks formation, moving to stand between Rhiannon and the Alpha. It's not an attack, it's a statement. A line is being drawn. What are you doing? Caddoc's voice is dangerous, but there's confusion in it too. You're disobeying a direct order from your Alpha. We're choosing our future, Geraint says quietly. The heir needs his mother. You need your mate. And the pack needs leaders who aren't being controlled by a council that stopped serving the people generations ago. We're not asking you to abandon your duty, Alpha. We're asking you to fight for what's right instead of what's traditional. Caddoc looks around at his fractured pack, at the warriors who've served him for years now standing in defiance. Rhiannon can see the conflict warring across his face. Alpha instinct demanding obedience, political reality warning him about rebellion, and underneath it all, the desperate hope that maybe there's another way. If I do this, he says slowly, if I refuse to enforce the Council's order, it's civil war. Maddox has support. Other elders who think like him. The pack will split. The pack is already split, Geraint replies. It split the day you cast out the Omega. The day we all stood by and watched an innocent mother lose her child. The day we chose fear over justice. At least now we have a chance to make it right. Owain chooses that moment to squirm out of Rhiannon's arms entirely. Before she can stop him, he slides down from the horse and runs. Not to Caddoc, not back to her, but to the space between them. He plants himself in the shallow water, little fists on his hips, and glares at all the adults with the kind of righteous fury only a 3-year-old can muster. Stop fighting, he shouts. Stop it right now. Mama stays. Papa stays. We all stay together. That's the rule, and I'm the heir, so you have to listen to me. For a moment nobody moves. Nobody even breathes. Then, impossibly, Caddoc laughs. It's a broken, exhausted sound, but it's real. He drops to his knees in the river, eye level with his son, and for the first time since Rhiannon arrived, the Alpha mask cracks completely away. You're right, pup, he says hoarsely. You're absolutely right. I've been so busy trying to protect you that I forgot the most important thing. You need to be happy. You need to be whole. And you can't be either of those things without your mother. He looks up at Rhiannon, and the raw vulnerability in his face makes her chest ache. I'm sorry, he says. For all of it. For not being strong enough to fight the Council 3 years ago. For thinking I could handle this alone. For breaking our family because I was too afraid to break the rules. I thought I was saving you. I was just destroying us all more slowly. Rhiannon climbs down from the horse, her legs shaking, and wades into the river to where her mate and her son are waiting. She drops to her knees beside them, and for the first time in 3 years, they're together. Really together. Caddoc's hand finds hers, fingers intertwining, and Owain wraps his little arms around both their necks, trying to pull them closer together. So we're a family now? Owain asks hopefully. For real. For real, Caddoc promises. I don't know how yet. I don't know what it's going to cost. But yes, pup. We're a family. Behind them, Geraint clears his throat. The sun's rising, Alpha. If we're going to do this, if we're going to stand against the Council, we need a plan. Maddox won't wait for sentiment. Caddoc stands, pulling Rhiannon up with him, keeping Owain tucked between them. Then we go back. All of us. We face the council together. And we demand a formal challenge to Maddox's authority. Ancestral law allows it when the Alpha believes a council member is acting against the pack's interests. He'll call for a combat trial, one of the other warriors warns. He'll demand the right to prove his position through strength. Let him. Cadoc's voice hardens back into Alpha command. I'll face whoever he sends. And when I win, we're going to have a very long conversation about reforming the council. About bringing in new voices. About making sure no wolf is ever cast out for something as arbitrary as bloodline again. Rhiannon's heart swells with something she thought she'd lost forever. Hope. You'd really risk your position. Your authority. For me. For us. He cups her face with his free hand, thumb brushing away tears she didn't realize she was crying. I should have risked it 3 years ago. I'm not making that mistake again. Whatever comes, we face it together. As mates, as parents, as partners. She kisses him then, fierce and desperate and full of 3 years of longing. Owain makes a disgusted sound. Gross, Papa. Which makes them both laugh into the kiss. And for just a moment, standing in that river with dawn breaking around them and half the tracking party watching, Rhiannon lets herself believe it might actually work. Then the howl comes. Not from the wolves with them, but from the direction of the packlands. A summoning howl, the kind that demands every wolf in hearing distance return immediately. It's followed by another, then another, until the morning air is full of them. Cadoc's face goes grim. That's the council. They're calling a gathering of the full pack. Maddox is making his move. What does that mean? Rhiannon asks, though part of her already knows. It means he's not waiting for us to come back. He's declaring me unfit and calling for a vote of no confidence. If he succeeds before we get there. Cadoc doesn't finish the sentence. He doesn't have to. If Maddox succeeds, Cadoc loses his alpha position. And without that protection, Rhiannon and Owain are completely vulnerable to whatever the council decides to do with them. Then we run, Cadoc says, decision made. We don't go back to face them. We take Owain, and we cross the border, and we start over somewhere Maddox can't reach us. No, Geraint says firmly. Alpha, if you run, you're confirming everything Maddox has been saying about you. That you're weak. That you put personal feelings above pack duty. The wolves who support you, who are willing to fight for you, will have no one to rally behind. Maddox will take control, and there won't be anyone left to stop him. I'm not sacrificing my family again for politics, Cadoc growls. You won't have to. Ellery's voice comes from the trees. They all spin to find her emerging from the shadows, accompanied by at least 20 more wolves. Betas and omegas mostly, but a few other warriors too. Because we're not going to let Maddox win. We have a plan. Cadoc's eyes narrow. How long have you been planning this, Ellery? 3 years, Alpha. Since the day you cast Rhiannon out, and I saw the way it broke both of you. Since the day I realized the council was more interested in maintaining their own power than in serving the pack. She moves closer, her expression fierce. You're not the only one who's been working behind the scenes. Some of us have been gathering support, building alliances, waiting for the right moment to challenge the old ways. When Owain got sick, and you had to summon Rhiannon back, we knew this was it. Our chance to force the issue. You used my son's illness as a political opportunity? Rhiannon's voice is dangerous. No. We used it as the catalyst it was always going to be. Owain was dying because of an unjust law. That injustice was always going to come to a head eventually. We just made sure that when it did, there would be wolves ready to stand with you instead of against you. It's manipulative. It's calculating. It's also probably the only reason Rhiannon is still alive. She wants to be angry about it, but she can't quite manage it. Not when Ellery's scheming might be the thing that saves her family. What's the plan? Cadoc asks. We get back before the vote. We present a counter-challenge, backed by witnesses to Maddox's plots. We force him to defend his position in front of the full pack, not just the council. Ellery's smile is sharp. And we make sure every Omega and Beta in the pack knows that this vote isn't just about Rhiannon. It's about whether they'll ever have a voice, or if the council will continue to treat them as expendable. You're talking about restructuring the entire pack hierarchy, Caddock says slowly. I'm talking about saving it. The old ways are dying, Alpha. Either we evolve or we fragment into nothing. Maddox represents the past. You and Rhiannon, you could represent the future. A pack where bloodline matters less than character. Where Omegas aren't dismissed as weak. Where the council serves the people instead of the other way around. Ellery's voice softens. But only if you're willing to fight for it. Really fight. Not just for your family, but for every wolf who's ever been told they don't matter because they weren't born alpha. Rhiannon sees it then. The bigger picture Ellery's been painting. This isn't just about her anymore. It's about changing the fundamental structure of pack society. Using her banishment and Owain's illness as the wedge to crack open centuries of tradition. It's brilliant and terrifying in equal measure. If we do this, Caddock says carefully, and we fail, it's not just me who'll pay the price. Everyone who stands with us will be marked as traitors. They could lose everything. We already have lost everything, Geraint says quietly. We've lost our integrity, our sense of justice. Our belief is that the pack protects its own. What good is keeping everything if it means we've sold our souls to maintain it? One by one, the wolves around them nod. They're scared. Rhiannon can smell the fear underneath their determination, but they're resolute. They've made their choice. They're going to stand and fight, consequences be damned. Caddock looks at Rhiannon. What do you want to do? It's the first time anyone has asked her that. Not told her, not ordered her, not decided for her. Actually asked. And suddenly she knows exactly what her answer is. I want to stop running, she says. I want to stop hiding who I am and what I come from. I want my son to grow up in a pack that values him for who he is, not just the bloodline he carries. And I want to stand beside my mate and fight for the future instead of accepting the past. She takes a deep breath. So yes, let's go back. Let's face the council. And let's change everything. Caddock's answering smile is fierce and proud and full of love. Then we ride. They reach the pack lands as the sun clears the horizon, casting everything in shades of gold and crimson. The great hall is already packed. Every wolf in the territory must be here, crammed into the building and spilling out into the courtyard. The air thrums with tension and anticipation. This isn't just a council meeting. This is history unfolding. Maddox stands on the Alpha's platform, already conducting the proceedings like he owns the position. He's older than Caddock by 2 decades, silver-haired and sharp-eyed, with a kind of charisma that comes from generations of political maneuvering. When he sees Caddock enter with Rhiannon at his side and Owain in his arms, his expression doesn't change, but Rhiannon catches the flash of triumph in his eyes. The prodigal Alpha returns, Maddox announces, voice carrying across the crowd. Along with the criminal Omega and the stolen heir. How convenient. You've saved us the trouble of hunting you down. I am still Alpha of this pack, Caddock says. His voice ringing with authority as he strides down the center aisle. The crowd parts before him. And you, Elder Maddox, are conducting an unauthorized vote in my absence. That's a violation of ancestral law. This gathering is null and void. Your absence was assumed to be abandonment. When an Alpha flees with a traitor, he forfeits his right to lead. Maddox gestures to the other council elders seated in their chairs. We were acting within our authority to preserve pack sovereignty. I didn't flee. I pursued an Omega who'd kidnapped the heir. I successfully recovered him and returned. That's not abandonment. That's protecting the pack's future. Caddock climbs the platform steps, still carrying Owain, still keeping Rhiannon close. What you're attempting is a coup. And I'm here to stop it. The crowd murmurs. Rhiannon can feel the division in the room. Some wolves nodding in agreement with Caddock, others looking uncertain, still others openly hostile. Maddox has been working his influence for years. This won't be won easily. You speak of protecting the future while sheltering an Omega who carries witch blood, Maddox counters smoothly. Who has poisoned the air with her forbidden lineage. Who represents everything our ancestors fought against when they established pack law. Your judgment has been compromised, Gothic. By lust, by sentiment, by weakness, by love, Gothic corrects. Which is not the same as weakness. Rhiannon is my mate. Owain is our son. And you've been using their bond as a weapon against me since before Owain was born. I know about your plans, Maddox. I know you want your grandson on the throne. I know you've been systematically undermining my authority to make that happen. Maddox's smile doesn't waver. Proof. Me. Ellery steps forward from the crowd, and several other wolves follow her. I'm prepared to testify before the full pack about conversations I've overheard. About orders you gave to ensure the Omega remained isolated. About potions you provided to the healers that delayed Owain's recovery instead of helping it. About your attempts to convince other elders that the boy was too tainted to lead and should be passed over in favor of your bloodline. The murmur becomes a roar. Wolves are shouting now, demanding answers, turning on each other. Maddox's expression finally cracks, showing the rage beneath. The testimony of a beta means nothing, he snarls. She has no standing in matters of pack law. Then let me testify. Geraint moves to stand beside Ellery. I'm a warrior, have standing. And I witnessed you bribing the northern border guards to delay any messages Rhiannon might try to send to the Alpha. You wanted her isolated. You wanted her hated. You wanted her dead so you could blame the Alpha for her death and use it to turn the pack against him. More wolves step forward. One by one they tell their stories. The picture that emerges is damning. Maddox has been orchestrating a slow-motion coup for years, using Rhiannon's banishment as the first move in a long game to destabilize Gadoc's rule. But Maddox doesn't crumble. If anything, he seems to grow more powerful as the accusations mount. You speak of conspiracy, he says when the testimonies finally end. Of plots and schemes. But answer me this. Is the Omega not of forbidden lineage? Does she not carry the blood of witches who defied pack law? Is the child not tainted by that blood? The child is the heir, Gadoc says firmly. And his bloodline is mine. Whatever magic Rhiannon carries doesn't change that. It changes everything. Maddox slams his hand on the platform rail. The old laws exist for a reason. Our ancestors banished the witches because their magic corrupted the pack bond, made wolves susceptible to outside influence, broke the purity of our connection to the moon. By allowing this Omega to mother the air, you've introduced that corruption into the Alpha line itself. What happens when Owain comes of age and discovers he can work spells? When he values his witch heritage over his wolf nature. When he uses magic to control the pack instead of leading it properly. It's clever. Maddox is pivoting from his own crimes to a larger fear. The fear of change, of the unknown, of losing the traditions that have defined pack culture for generations. And it's working. Rhiannon can see wolves who'd been swayed by the testimony now looking uncertain again. My grandmother's magic never hurt anyone, Rhiannon says, her voice cutting through the noise. She steps forward, drawing all eyes to her. She used it to heal, to protect, to help wolves who'd been injured or sick when the pack healers couldn't save them. That's why the council turned on her. Not because she was dangerous, but because she was powerful in ways they couldn't control. In ways that didn't come from the traditional hierarchy. You admit she defied council authority, Maddox pounces. I admit she helped people the council had given up on. I admit she saved lives. I admit she taught me that magic isn't evil. It's a tool. What matters is the intention behind it. Rhiannon's hands are shaking, but her voice stays steady. You want to talk about corruption. About poison in the pack. Look at what your fear has done. Look at how many Omegas have been dismissed, diminished, destroyed because they didn't fit your narrow definition of worthy. Look at how many children have grown up believing their value comes from their designation instead of their character. That's the real corruption, Elder Maddox. And it's the corruption I want to end. The crowd has gone silent. Every wolf is staring at her. This Omega who was supposed to disappear quietly, who was supposed to accept her place, who's now standing on the Alpha's platform demanding they rethink everything they've been taught. Bold words from a wolf with no standing, Maddox says coldly. Then give her standing. Caddock sets Owain down carefully, making sure the boy stays close, then moves to Rhiannon's side. He takes her hand, lifts it high so everyone can see. I, Caddock, Alpha of the Silver Moon Pack, claim Rhiannon as my mate under ancestral law. Not in secret, not in shame. Openly before the full pack, with the council as witness. She is my equal, my partner. And she has every right to speak on matters that affect our people's future. The crowd explodes. Half of them are cheering, the Omegas especially, but also many of the Betas, and even some Alphas who've been quietly disagreeing with the Council's policies for years. The other half are shouting in outrage, calling Caddock a traitor, demanding he be removed immediately. Maddox lets the chaos build for a moment, then raises his hand for silence. When he speaks, his voice is dangerously soft. You would make claim an Omega of forbidden lineage. You would elevate her to a position where she could influence pack policy. You've truly lost your mind, Caddock. Or I've finally found it. Caddock's grip on Rhiannon's hand tightens. I'm tired of watching good wolves suffer because of rules that were made by people who cared more about control than about their people's well-being. I'm tired of pretending that designation determines worth. And I'm tired of letting you bully this pack into compliance through fear. So yes, I make claiming Rhiannon. And I'm proposing a restructure of the council to include Omega and Beta representatives. And I'm challenging any wolf who thinks I'm unfit to lead because of it. Then I accept your challenge. Maddox's smile is cold and satisfied. Combat trial. You against my champion. If you win, you keep your position and we'll discuss your reforms. If you lose, you step down and accept exile along with your mate. The boy remains with the pack to be raised properly. No! Owain's shriek cuts through the tension. No, you can't take Papa. You can't take Mama. We're a family. He runs forward, throwing himself at Maddox's legs, hitting and kicking with all the fury his small body can muster. For a moment, the ancient elder looks startled. Then his expression hardens, and he reaches down to grab the boy. And Rhiannon moves. She doesn't think, doesn't plan. She just reacts with every protective instinct a mother possesses. One moment she's standing beside Caddock, the next she's across the platform, interposing herself between Maddox and Owain. Magic flares around her. Her grandmother's magic, wild and instinctive and fierce. It manifests as a barrier of pure force that sends Maddox stumbling backwards. The great hall goes absolutely silent. Rhiannon stands there, breathing hard, magic crackling around her fingers like lightning. Owain clings to her legs, and she can feel power responding to her fear, her rage, her desperation. It's more than she's ever accessed before. More than she knew she was capable of. The forbidden lineage, finally awakening in full. Don't, she says quietly, touch my son. Maddox stares at her with something that looks like genuine fear. Witch, he breathes. She's a witch. You see, this is exactly what I warned about. She'll corrupt us all. She just protected her child. Ellery shouts from the crowd. Any mother would have done the same. With wolf strength, yes. Not with magic that violates every law we have. The crowd is fracturing. Some wolves are backing away from Rhiannon in horror. Others are moving closer, forming a protective circle. The pack is literally dividing before their eyes, splitting into factions that might never reconcile. Caddock reaches Rhiannon's side, putting himself between her and Maddox. You forced this, he tells the elder, his voice shaking with barely controlled rage. You've pushed and pushed until you finally got the conflict you wanted. Oh fine. Let's settle it. Name your champion. Let's end this now. Gladly. Maddox gestures, and from the back of the crowd, a massive alpha emerges. Rhiannon's heart sinks as she recognizes him. Cadfael Maddox's grandson, easily one of the largest wolves in the pack, trained since birth for combat, brutal and efficient. He's beaten every challenger he's ever faced. And Caddoc, while strong, is exhausted from tracking them all night. He's emotionally drained. He's not in any condition to face Cadfael in ritual combat. This isn't a fair fight, Rhiannon whispers. It doesn't have to be fair, Caddoc whispers back. It just has to be finished. He kisses her forehead, whispers something to Owain that makes the boy cry harder, then steps forward to face his challenger. The crowd parts, forming a circle. This is it. Everything comes down to this. One fight to determine the future of the pack, the fate of their family, whether the old ways will continue or whether something new might finally emerge. Rhiannon watches her mate square off against an opponent who outweighs him by 50 pounds, watches them circle each other while the crowd holds its breath, watches Caddoc's exhaustion warring with his determination. And she knows with sick certainty that he's going to lose. Unless she does something about it. The magic is still there, humming just beneath her skin. Her grandmother's gift. The forbidden lineage. She could use it. Could tip the scales. Could save Caddoc the way he once tried to save her. It would confirm everything Maddox has been saying about her. It would prove she's dangerous, corrupting, exactly the threat the council fears. But it would keep her mate alive. Keep their family together. The question is she willing to become the monster they've always believed she was, if it means protecting the people she loves? She's still trying to answer when Cadfael makes his move. The big alpha lunges forward with shocking speed for his size. Caddoc dodges barely but not fast enough. Claws rake across his ribs, drawing blood. The crowd gasps. Caddoc retaliates with a strike to Cadfael's jaw that would have felled a smaller wolf, but the giant barely staggers. This is going to be a slaughter. Rhiannon's magic surges, responding to her panic. Her hands start to glow. She can feel the spell forming, instinctive and ancient, something to slow Cadfael down, to give Caddoc an advantage, to change the outcome. All she has to do is release it. Mama, no. Owain's small hand grabs hers, and suddenly the magic stutters. She looks down at her son, at his tear-stained face, and sees understanding there that no 3-year-old should possess. If you help, they'll hate you forever. They'll say Papa didn't win fairly. They'll say we're bad. He's right. God's help her, her child is right. If she interferes, it doesn't matter if Caddoc wins. Maddox will have all the proof he needs that she's corrupting the pack, using magic to manipulate outcomes. They'll never accept her. Never accept Owain. The stigma will follow them forever. But if she doesn't interfere, Caddoc might die. In the circle, Cadfael lands another blow. Then another. Caddoc is fighting back, getting his hits in, but he's slowing, bleeding, losing ground. The pack watches in horrified fascination as their alpha starts to fall. Rhiannon makes her choice. She closes her eyes, takes a deep breath, and lets the magic dissipate. Let it sink back into her bones where it can't hurt anyone, can't prove anyone right, can't be used against them. She chooses to trust. Trust that Caddoc is strong enough. Trust that fate will tip their way. Trust that sometimes the only power worth having is the power to choose not to use power at all. She opens her eyes just in time to see Cadfael wrap his massive hands around Caddoc's throat and lift him off the ground. The crowd is screaming. Owain is sobbing against her legs. Maddox is smiling like he's already won. And Rhiannon is frozen, watching her mate slowly suffocate, wondering if she's just made the worst decision of her life. Then Caddoc's hand moves, weak, shaking but purposeful. He reaches up not to break Cadfael's grip, but to press his palm against the bigger alpha's chest. And he speaks, voice barely audible over the chaos. I yield. The great hall goes absolutely silent. Cadfael drops him. Caddoc crumples to the floor, gasping for air, blood pouring from a dozen wounds. And Maddox's laughter fills the space, triumphant and cruel. The Alpha has yielded, he announces. The challenge is lost. By ancestral law, Gothic is no longer fit to lead. He must accept exile along with his corrupted mate and tainted child. No. Gothic drags himself to his feet, swaying but standing. You didn't let me finish. I yield. My Alpha position. Not my right to be heard. Not my voice in this pack. Not my family. I'm resigning as Alpha. Effective immediately. Which means this isn't a combat trial anymore. It's just an assault. And Cadfael just attacked a pack member in front of the entire community. The genius of it hits Rhiannon like a physical blow. By yielding the position before the fight concluded, Gothic invalidated the trial. Maddox can't exile him using trial rules because there's no trial outcome. He'd have to convince the pack to exile an ordinary wolf who's done nothing except love his mate and protect his child. Maddox clearly realizes it too. His face goes purple with rage. You can't, that's not, you're twisting the law. I'm using it, Gothic corrects. The way you've been using it to push your agenda for years. The difference is, I'm doing it to protect my family instead of destroying someone else's. He turns to face the pack, addressing them directly. I'm stepping down. You need a new Alpha. Choose whoever you want. Maddox's grandson, someone from the council, anyone. But while you're choosing, I'm asking you to think about what kind of pack you want to be. Do you want to keep dividing yourselves into worthy and unworthy based on bloodline? Keep casting out wolves who don't fit a centuries-old definition of acceptable? Or do you want to evolve? To become something better? To actually live up to the ideals our ancestors talked about? Protecting the pack, caring for the vulnerable, choosing strength of character over accidents of birth. He reaches for Rhiannon, pulls her and Owain close. I've made a lot of mistakes. I cast out my mate when I should have fought for her. I chose tradition over love. I tried to serve the pack by destroying my family. And I'm done. I'm done sacrificing the people I love on the altar of other people's prejudices. So I'm leaving. Taking my mate and my son somewhere we can live without fear. And any wolf who wants to come with us, who's tired of the old ways, who believes there's a better future possible, you're welcome to join us. We'll build something new. Something that doesn't require anyone to deny who they are to deserve protection. For a long moment nobody moves. Then Ellery steps forward. I'm coming. Geraint follows. Me too. One by one wolves break from the crowd. More than Rhiannon expected. Dozens of them, maybe over 100, streaming toward where Gothic stands. Omegas and betas mostly, but some alphas too. Young wolves, old wolves, warriors, healers and crafters. A full third of the pack, maybe more, choosing exile over staying in a place that treats them as lesser. Maddox watches his power base fracture in real time, and the fury on his face is terrifying. Traitors, he screams. All of you. You'll die out there without the pack bond, without the territory, without you, Ellery interrupts calmly. We'll die without you, Maddox. And I think we'll manage just fine. The wolves who've chosen to leave gather around Gothic, Rhiannon, and Owain. They're scared, she can smell it, but they're also hopeful, determined, ready for whatever comes next. They've made their choice, and they're committed to seeing it through. Gothic looks at Rhiannon, and despite his injuries, despite everything they've lost, he's smiling. Ready to build something new? She kisses him, fierce and loving and full of promise. I've been ready for 3 years. They turn together and walk toward the great hall's doors. The wolves who've chosen them follow. Behind them they can hear Maddox still screaming, the remaining pack erupting into chaos, the sound of everything falling apart. But ahead of them, through those open doors, morning sunlight streams in. New day. A new beginning. A chance to create the kind of pack they've always wanted. One where love matters more than lineage, where family isn't defined by tradition, where wolves are valued for who they are instead of what they're born as. Owain tugs on Rhiannon's hand as they step into the sunlight. Where are we going, Mama? She looks at Gothic, at the wolves surrounding them, at the future spreading out before them like an unwritten story. Anywhere we want, sweetheart. Anywhere we want. 3 months later, in a valley beyond the packlands where no council's reach extends, Rhiannon stands on a hillside watching her mate teach their son to hunt. Owain is laughing, chasing rabbits with all the coordination of a 3-year-old, which is to say none at all. But he's happy, healthy, whole. The soul sickness that nearly killed him has vanished completely, replaced by the kind of vibrant joy that only comes from children who feel truly safe. Behind her, the new settlement sprawls across the valley floor. They call it Tir Nuid, New Land. 67 wolves came with them that first day, and more have trickled in since. Refugees from other packs where the old ways still hold sway. Lone wolves who'd been cast out for various infractions. Omegas and betas, and even a few alphas who were tired of fighting political battles instead of just living their lives. It's not easy. Nothing about building a new pack from scratch is easy. They've had to establish hunting territories, negotiate with the human settlements nearby, and create their own governance structure that actually represents everyone's voices. There have been arguments, setbacks, moments when Rhiannon wondered if they'd made a terrible mistake. But then she sees moments like this. Caddoc laughing with their son, Ellery organizing the evening meal with a group of Omegas who are finally being treated as equals, Geraint training young wolves in combat techniques without the rigid hierarchy that defined their old lives. She sees wolves choosing their own mates without council approval, sees children playing together regardless of designation, sees healers combining traditional pack medicine with her grandmother's herbal knowledge without fear of persecution. She sees hope. Real, tangible hope that they're building something better. Caddoc catches her watching and grins, that wild, fierce grin she fell in love with years ago. He scoops Owain up and carries him back to where she's standing, the boy squealing with delight. Your son, Caddoc announces, has decided he wants to be a healer instead of a warrior. He's very concerned about the rabbits. They're scared, Mama, Owain explains seriously. I don't want to hurt things that are scared. Rhiannon's heart swells. Then you'll be an excellent healer, sweetheart. The best kind. One who actually cares about easing pain instead of just fixing problems. Can I learn magic too? Like you. She glances at Caddoc, who nods encouragingly. The forbidden lineage isn't forbidden here. Yes, baby. When you're ready, I'll teach you everything my grandmother taught me. Owain beams and wriggles free to run back down the hill, probably to apologize to the rabbits for chasing them. Caddoc wraps his arms around Rhiannon from behind, resting his chin on her shoulder. Do you miss it? He asks quietly. The pack lands. The Great Hall. Everything we left behind. She thinks about it honestly. I miss the good parts. I miss the forest where we used to run together. I miss some of the wolves who stayed. But I don't miss the fear. Don't miss constantly wondering if today would be the day they decided I was too dangerous to tolerate. Don't miss watching our son grow up believing his mother was shameful. No regrets then. Only one. She turns in his arms to face him. I regret that we lost 3 years. That it took almost losing everything to find the courage to choose each other over everyone else's expectations. He kisses her softly. Then let's not waste any more time. It's perfect. It's healing. It's everything she thought she'd never have. Which is, of course, when the howl comes. Not from their wolves. From beyond the valley, from the direction of the old pack lands. A howl of distress, of warning, carried on the wind with desperate urgency. Every wolf in the valley freezes, heads turning toward the sound. It comes again, clearer this time. And Rhiannon's blood runs cold as she recognizes the voice. It's Elder Reese, one of the few council members who'd tried to speak for her during the banishment, who'd argued against Maddox's more extreme positions. He's howling the old signal, the one that means invasion, attack, emergency that threatens the entire pack. Something's wrong, Caddoc says, already moving. Something's seriously wrong. They run down the hill together, joining the gathering crowd of wolves. Ellery is already there, her face pale. That's the war howl, she says. The pack is under attack. Not our pack, one of the younger wolves says bitterly. Not anymore. They cast us out, remember? Let them handle their own problems. But Gothic is shaking his head, expression grim. It's still where most of our families are. Our parents, siblings, and friends who couldn't leave. We can't just abandon them. What if it's a trap? Geraint asked. What if Maddox is using this to lure us back? Before anyone can answer, a figure stumbles into the valley. Elder Rhys himself in human form, covered in blood and barely standing. He collapses at the edge of the settlement, and several wolves rush to help him. Rhiannon reaches him first, already assessing his injuries with a healer's eye. They're bad. Deep claw marks across his chest, a leg that's definitely broken, and signs of extensive blood loss. Rhys, what happened? Gothic drops to his knees beside the elder. Maddox, Rhys gasps out. He's gone mad. After you left, he took complete control. Declared himself alpha. Started executing anyone who questioned him. Then yesterday he did something. Some kind of ritual. Dark magic, Gothic. Blood magic. He's opened something, unleashed something that's killing us. The pack is being torn apart from the inside. Wolves are turning on each other, losing their minds, attacking their own families. Horror floods through Rhiannon. What kind of ritual? I don't know. He had a witch, a real witch, not like your grandmother's healing magic. Someone who deals in death and corruption. They performed it in the Great Hall and sacrificed 3 wolves to power it. Said he was calling something ancient, something that would cleanse the pack of weakness. Rhys coughs, blood flecking his lips. But it's not cleansing anything. It's destroying us. The pack bond itself is corrupted. Wolves can feel it eating at them, driving them insane. If someone doesn't stop it, there won't be a pack left to save. Gothic's face has gone white. How many casualties? At least 20 dead. Twice that many injured. And it's spreading. The madness is spreading like a disease through anyone still connected to the pack bond. Rhys grabs Gothic's arm with desperate strength. You have to come back. You're the rightful alpha. Your bond to the pack is dormant but not severed. You might be able to counter whatever Maddox has done. You might be able to save them. He resigned, Geraint protests. He gave up his alpha position. He has no authority anymore. Authority doesn't matter when everyone's dying. Rhys's voice breaks. Please. I know we failed you. I know we let you down when you needed us. But there are pups there, Gothic. Children who had nothing to do with the council's decisions. Your sister is there. Your mother. Are you going to let them die because of Maddox's madness? The valley has gone silent. Every wolf is watching Gothic, waiting to see what he'll do. Go back and try to save the pack that exiled them. Risk everything they've built here. Or turn their backs and let the old pack face the consequences of its choices. Rhiannon sees the conflict tearing across her mate's face. She knows what he wants to do. Knows his protective instincts are screaming at him to help, that the thought of his family dying is unbearable. But she also knows the risk. If they go back, Maddox could trap them. Could use them as leverage. Could destroy them the way he's destroying the pack. We have to help them. Owain's small voice breaks the silence. He's pushed his way through the crowd, looking up at his father with those 2 knowing golden eyes. They're still our pack, Papa. Even if they were mean. We don't let people die when we can save them. That's what you taught me. Out of the mouths of babes. Again. Their 3-year-old son, shaming them all with his simple moral clarity. Gothic closes his eyes, takes a shaky breath, then looks at Rhiannon. I can't ask you to do this. Can't ask you to go back there after everything they put you through. You're not asking, she says firmly. I'm choosing. If there's dark magic involved, if it's corrupting the pack bond, then you're going to need someone who understands that kind of power. Someone with witch blood. She sees the fear in his eyes and cups his face in her hands. I know it's dangerous. I know we might not come back. But our son is right. We can't build something better if we're willing to let the old world burn just because it hurt us. We don't all have to go, Ellery says. Most of us should stay here, protect Tir Nuid. But a small group, those of us with the strongest bonds to the pack, those who might be able to resist the corruption, we could go. Try to stop whatever Maddox has done. Caddock looks around at his people. These wolves who've followed him into exile, who've trusted him to build something new. I need volunteers. But I want you to understand what you'd be walking into. Madness. Possibly a trap. If we fail, Tir Nuid loses some of its strongest members. If we succeed, we save wolves who might never thank us for it. I'm coming, Geraint says immediately. Me too, Ellery adds. One by one, 15 wolves step forward. Warriors, healers, even a few of the younger Omegas who found their courage in this new pack. They're scared, but they're resolute. They've tasted what it means to live without fear, and they're willing to fight to give others that same chance. Rhiannon kneels beside Owain, knowing she needs to say goodbye even though every fiber of her being rebels against leaving him. Baby, we have to go help some people who are sick. You're going to stay here where it's safe. No. Owain's jaw sets in that stubborn line he inherited from both his parents. I'm coming too. Absolutely not. It's too dangerous. But you said I have magic too. Grandma's magic. What if you need it? What if I'm the only one who can help? His eyes are brimming with tears, but his voice doesn't waver. I'm the heir, Mama. That means I protect the pack. All the pack. Even the ones who were mean to you. Rhiannon looks at Caddock helplessly. Their son is 3 years old. 3. But he's also right, if this is blood magic, if it's targeting the pack bond specifically, then having someone with mixed heritage, someone who's both wolf and witch, might be exactly what they need. She can already see the magic manifesting in Owain, stronger than it ever was in her. Her grandmother's gift, combined with alpha blood, creating something entirely new. He stays here, Caddock says firmly. I won't risk. An explosion of power erupts from the direction of the old pack lands. Even from miles away they can feel it. A shockwave of corrupted magic that ripples through the air, making every wolf in the valley stagger. Rhiannon's witch senses scream in warning. Whatever Maddox has unleashed, it's getting stronger. Feeding on the death, the madness, the chaos it's creating. And if it's not stopped soon, it won't stay contained within the packlands. It'll spread. Consume everything in its path. Including Tir Nuid. We need to leave now, Rhys gasps from where he's being tended by healers. Before it reaches the point of no return. There's a window, maybe a few hours, where the ritual can still be disrupted. After that, he doesn't finish. He doesn't need to. Caddock makes his decision. Owain stays here with 20 guards. The rest of us move out immediately. We travel fast, we hit hard, and we get out before Maddox can trap us. He looks at each volunteer in turn. Last chance to back out. No judgment if you do. Nobody moves. Then let's save a pack. They shift and run, moving through the forest at the punishing pace only wolves can maintain. Rhiannon runs beside Caddock, her heart pounding with fear and determination in equal measure. Behind them, Tir Nuid disappears into the distance. Ahead of them, the old pack lands loom like a nightmare waiting to swallow them whole. She thinks about Owain, left behind despite his protests. About the life they've built, the peace they've found. About how easily it could all be destroyed if this goes wrong. But she also thinks about all the wolves who didn't choose to follow Maddox, who are suffering and dying because of one mad elder's ambition. About Caddock's mother and sister, about the children, about the innocent ones caught in the crossfire of politics they never asked to be part of. So she runs. Toward danger, toward darkness, toward a confrontation that will either save everything or destroy them all. They're halfway there when Rhiannon feels it, a tug on the bond she shares with Owain. Not the natural mother-child connection but something else. Something wrong. She stumbles, nearly falls, and Caddock catches her. What is it? Owain. Something's wrong with Owain. They skid to a stop, the whole group going on alert. Rhiannon reaches for the bond, trying to understand what she's feeling. It's not pain, not exactly. It's more like a pulling. like something is calling to him, drawing him toward. No. The word comes out as a horrified whisper. No, he wouldn't. What? Karak demands. The ritual. It's calling to him. His magic, his bloodline, it's like a beacon. Whatever Maddox summoned, it recognizes Owain as pack heir. It wants him. But he's miles away, surrounded by guards. There's no way. A howl cuts through the night. From behind them. From the direction of Tir Nuid. It's a child's howl, high and frightened, and it's moving. Moving toward them. Toward the pack lands. Toward the source of the corrupted magic. He's following us, Ellery breathes. Gods, he must have slipped away from the guards and followed us. They turn as one and run back the way they came, abandoning the mission to find their missing child. But even as they run, Rhiannon can feel it. Owain is moving faster than a 3-year-old should be able to move. The magic is propelling him, drawing him like a moth to flame. And they're not going to catch him in time. Owain! Kadok's roar echoes through the forest. Owain, stop! No answer. Just that desperate howling, getting fainter as their son races toward catastrophe. They burst into a clearing and find him, standing at the edge, staring toward the pack lands with eyes that are glowing with power. Not the healthy gold of his wolf, but something darker, corrupted, ancient. He looks at them, and for a terrifying moment, Rhiannon doesn't recognize her son. It's calling me, Owain says, and his voice sounds wrong. Too old, too knowing. The thing in the shadows knows my name, says I have to come home. That it's time for the heir to take his place. Owain, baby, that's not you talking. That's the magic. You have to fight it. Rhiannon moves slowly toward him, hands outstretched. But what if it is me? Those corrupted golden eyes meet hers, and she sees the fear beneath the possession. Her son is still in there, fighting, terrified. What if this is what I really am? What my blood really means? Papa says I'm the heir. The ritual says I'm the heir. Maybe I'm supposed to go. Maybe this is my destiny. Your destiny is whatever you choose it to be, Kadok says, voice rough with emotion. Not what some corrupted magic tells you. Not what tradition demands. Your choice, Owain. Always your choice. But if I don't go, people die. Can feel it. Pack is dying. And I'm the only one who can stop it because I'm both things. Wolf and witch. The ritual needs both to be undone. Tears stream down his small face even as the corrupted magic pulses around him. I'm scared, Papa. But I have to go. Don't I? And Rhiannon realizes with sick horror that her 3-year-old son is right. The ritual was designed to target the pack bond, to corrupt it from within. But Owain, with his mixed heritage, his unique magic, he's the anomaly the ritual wasn't designed for. He's the key to unraveling it. Which means Maddox knows. Has known all along. This entire thing, the attack on the pack, the dark ritual, the call that drew Owain out, it was all designed to get their son back. To use him for whatever twisted purpose Maddox has in mind. It's a trap, she says hollowly. All of it. He wants Owain. He's always wanted Owain. Then we don't give him what he wants, Kadok growls. We take our son and we run. Back to Tir Nuid. We put every protection we can think of around him. And we let the old pack face its own consequences. 27 wolves have already died. Owain whispers. I can feel them. Feel their pain. And more are dying every minute we stand here talking. Your sister is one of them, Papa. She's fighting the madness, but she's losing. Your mother is already dead. Kadok makes a sound like something inside him has broken. Rhiannon's heart shatters for him, for the losses he's enduring, for the impossible choice they're being forced to make. Save their son or save the pack. Their future or the past. Love or duty. There has to be another way, she says desperately. Some way to stop this without sacrificing Owain. There is. The voice comes from behind them. They spin to find a woman emerging from the shadows. Old, bent with age, but with eyes that burn with power. A true witch, like Rhiannon's grandmother once was. The child is right. He's the key. But not because Maddox wants him to be. Because his blood can undo what shouldn't have been done. The ritual used death to bind the pack in chains. Life magic, freely given, can break those chains. Who are you? Caddock demands. Someone who remembers what packs were meant to be, before councils and hierarchies corrupted them, before witches were hunted and omegas were dismissed, and strength became more important than compassion. The old woman looks at Owain with something like pride. This child represents the future, the marriage of old magic and wolf bonds, of tradition and evolution. Maddox fears that, wants to twist it to serve his purposes. But the boy is stronger than Maddox knows. Braver. If he chooses to walk into that darkness, he won't do it alone. You're saying we let our 3-year-old son face down a corrupted ritual and a mad alpha? Rhiannon's voice rises to near hysteria. That's your solution. I'm saying you go with him. All of you. The family that was broken by fear, reunited by love, walking into the darkness together. That's what will break Maddox's power. Not force, not magic, but the simple truth that love is stronger than hate. That chosen bonds are more powerful than enforced ones. That a family fighting for each other can overcome anything. Sounds like a fairy tale. Like naive hope dressed up as strategy. But when Rhiannon looks at her son, her brave, terrified, too-wise child who's willing to sacrifice himself to save wolves who rejected his mother, she sees the truth in it. Owain isn't strong because of his bloodline or his magic. He's strong because he was raised by parents who chose each other despite every reason not to. Who built a new world when the old one failed them. Who taught him that love matters more than power. And maybe, that's exactly the kind of strength that can counter Maddox's corruption. If we do this, Caddock says slowly, we do it together. As a family. No one gets left behind. No one faces this alone. Rhiannon takes his hand. Takes Owain's hand. Feels the bond between them. Mother, father, child. Pulse with warmth and light and unbreakable connection. Together, she agrees. Owain looks up at them both. The corruption in his eyes fading as love pushes it back. You're really coming with me. Always, baby. Always. They turn as one and walk toward the Packlands. Toward Maddox's madness. Toward a ritual that's killing dozens. Toward a confrontation that will either save 2 packs or destroy them all. The old witch watches them go, a small smile on her ancient face. Behind them, Geraint and the others fall into formation, following their leaders into battle. And ahead, in the great hall where this all began, Maddox feels them coming through the corrupted pack bond. He smiles, dark and satisfied, and begins the final phase of his ritual. The phase that requires the heir's blood. The phase that will either give him ultimate power over all wolfkind, or destroy everything he's ever worked for. The night air fills with howls, of pain, of madness, of hope, of defiance. And as Rhiannon, Caddock, and Owain cross the boundary back into Pack lands for the first time in 3 months, a single thought echoes